Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffanys.
So, before we get started into today's impromptu location for Off the Rack, I wanted to make sure that we are being heard, that the chat can sound off for us to make sure that everything is going off. You're getting uninterrupted service, and also that you can hear the hosts, which is the most important thing. Because, as my drama teacher once told me, the audience will forgive many things. They'll forgive bad lighting, they'll forgive bad acting, they'll forgive bad sets, but they will never forgive you if they can't hear you. So there you have it. But yeah, welcome to the set. By the way, if you think this set looks dope, it does, and also is Tiffanys Life. This is like where you live and work and play in our home. And also, it can be on display on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, typically, on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays and twitch.tv/ComicPop. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, great.
I only have one mic here because I only ever need one mic.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna let Sal have the mic
Oh.
unless I'm reviewing a comic.
Yes.
And I will lean in
All right.
to
All right.
my own mic.
If it sounds good for you leaning in, then I'm okay with that.
Okie dokie.
All right. I should also point out that this is the first official live episode with the new thumbnail scheme. Not that anyone cares, but we switched it up a little bit. I noticed that a lot of other YouTube comic book related channels are aping off that style. So I'm like, well, that's a good sign. We got to change it up. We got to be something different. And so here's a different one. I went with more of like a formal podcast kind of looking theme.
Right.
And it's funny because I was actually watching a video recently about like podcasts, and someone was like, can we throw away the YouTube podcast thumbnail that has two people's faces and like the word podcast on it? Like, or a microphone in the thumbnail. Like, it's no one cares. We're not here for that. They were like, put up a picture of the thing you're talking about and just move on. And I was like, that's an interesting observation. I don't know if I would set my watch to it or my bank account to it.
We may not be there yet.
We're not there, but I wanted to. In fact, there were two options for like faces, and I was like, no, 2 comic books.
Oh.
So I tried that out. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you very much. It looks like things are going okay, so I'm happy to report that we can continue the show.
Hooray!
But yeah, so as far as this show is concerned, we are here to talk about comics that came out over the past week and recap and review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then after it's over, we are going to pick out a book of the week. Each of us has a book that we're going to highlight specifically as to a standout issue, and then we're going to read your super chats, because the show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you want to sponsor today's show, you can use super chats, ask a question or comment, we'll read it here on the show, and then we're going to do all that then, and then recommending comic books that are coming out this week. That is to say, in 2 days, we think you should check out. Yeah, that's right. We also talk about comic book news and news related stuff. There's not a lot, like a huge.
No, there is something you wanted to talk about.
Oh, what's that?
The Dan Slott thing.
Oh, that's right. Dan Slott is writing a new book for DC Comics called Superman Unlimited, I believe. So he's going to be participating in what they're calling the Summer of Superman. And there is an official cover out and everything. I believe he's working with Raphael Albuquerque to bring that to you. And so that's an interesting thing they're doing. I applaud DC on its innovation and its originality for plucking a Marvel Comics writer long past their expiration date, putting them on Superman, giving them an old weird Superman title that like might be confusing to new readers, and then having that writer completely change Superman's status quo to fit what his status quo was when that writer was a kid who was reading Superman at the time.
Right.
The only thing they didn't do was write Slott is coming. That's like the only thing that they learned from this thing. They have time. Yeah, they could. But it's like by that point he'll have already been here. See what I did? I didn't say the thing. Maybe I'm growing, or maybe it's just the fact that I'm in your space and I don't want to.
Thank you.
I don't do that. But yeah, I mean, I'll never read it. It looks awful. I don't care about like the concept, and not to like put too fine a point on it or anything like that, because I especially believe more and more nowadays that like art is subjective and it's not like about, saying art sucks or not. And I'm not suggesting that like Raphael Albuquerque is in any way not good, but that cover is ugly. And
Oh.
Superman looks sinister on it. And I know he's supposed to look like inspiring and strong, but he just looks like a dick. And I'm like, this is such a turnoff for me. Like you have this, it's not celebrated. Like nobody is like shouting from the rooftops about Williamson's Superman run, but like it is selling. And it does have Dan Mora on it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, just lean into that. Like, why do you think you need to get Dan Slott? What a weird decision. Like I can't imagine that. It's just, if you had told me like we have all this money, we're going to allocate it to like a couple of ideas or put them in a few buckets, but one of those buckets is called get Dan Slott away from Marvel and put him on a Superman book that like, it's already a tough sell to get people to read Superman regularly. And then, oh wait, no, but here's a sub Superman book. Like, I don't even read Action Comics. That's the real Superman book.
So my question is, at one point will he create a new character so that he can hope that
character will take
it
off,
gets picked up, and a movie's made out.
Yeah,
of
when they make Superverse.
Yeah, that.
The thing that's weird to me is that like they can't. There's already a Superboy. I mean, I guess they can make Super Gwen.
There's like 1 billion people from Krypton who could show up.
That's true. He could reveal any number of super characters, and I'm sure he will. Or he'll do Superior Superman, which is something we pitched many, many years ago.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Isn't Superior Superman just kind of like
Lex?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see.
That's, for me, I was like, Superior Superman is just when Superman died during the New 52 and Lex got the power armor.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Superior Superman.
Sure. Or like Eradicator Superman or Cyborg Superman. They're all kind of that.
Yes.
Just a bad guy being Superman.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There was a whole like half year where Eradicator was running around in Superman's body or something. And he was murdering people with his like heat vision or something. Like that was Cyborg Superman was an evil Superman, except that he wasn't, he was pretending to be Superman, but he had nefarious purposes. But yeah. Pass.
Got any other news?
Not really. I mean, like we're in the worst timeline, so I'm not really going to get into it. But I will say that like if you are feeling like, not too long ago, I was in like a real like deep pit of despair because of the goings on, and like boy, I'm glad we got out of that. But if you're looking for comics to provide comfort for you, there are a few recommendations I'd like to make just for you to like read and hopefully divorce yourself from like the reality you're in for however long it takes you to read comics. Like the first thing that I read, and I think I talked about it like on one of my interviews with Tom King, and he made fun of me for it, was Kingdom Come. It's like, for me, it's such an important piece of fiction. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. There's actually like a JSA issue that has like a PS to it that's perfection. I've never seen anything like that has been revisited, and then I'm like, wow, that was really cool. I can't believe that we got back to that, because it's so rare to do that, like to do something where it's like, oh man, here's another like thing to say about this important book, and then they do it right. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I love Kingdom Come. All-Star Superman, if we're in the, we're entering into the summer of Superman. And so All-Star Superman is a hugely inspirational book. Superman for All Seasons is the one that I really enjoy. I know it's very Superman adjacent, but Superman for All Seasons is like, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, can't go wrong. It's fantastic. And yeah, like, I mean, do you have any recommendations for books that are like make you feel hope or inspired?
I think that's not usually my bag.
Yeah, no, you're usually like, let's go darker.
Let's make it sadder. And I'm like, okay. Maybe I want to lighten up on that. I like the manga My Happy Marriage.
There we go. All right.
It seems like it's going to be dark and dismal, but turns out to be super sweet and fun. There's also an anime. You could just watch that. Yeah,
no, that's true. Yeah, if you don't feel like reading. Although if you're a subs versus dubs kind of person, you'll still have to read.
Dubs have gotten, I
know. Dubs are much better than
I think they've gotten better. Listen, sometimes I don't have time.
Right. And then occasionally we'll like watch, a rebroadcast of the original Ghost in the Shell, and we're like, oh no, it was so much worse.
Yeah,
Those dubs do
they
not
were
work as well.
not.
Some of them
That's-
do. Some of them aren't bad, but
yeah.
Major was not one of them.
No.
Unless you were like, unless you were the poor actress was just like, a robot. Got it.
Got it. I know what I'm
I
doing.
could play it like a robot.
Can do.
The other thing I wanted to mention was that at the top of the hour yesterday was Jeff Thorne's birthday.
Hey!
And he is a fantastic friend of the show, creator in his own right, of course, and just a fantastically positive voice in the community, and he is worth celebrating. And so if you get a chance, wish that fine, amazing gentleman a happy birthday, because he deserves it.
In fact, he's here right now, so
Yes,
feel
that's
free.
right. So,
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! But we will spare you the singing. So jumping into some books that came out in the past week, I guess I'll talk about Batman Superman World's Finest from Mark Waid and Adrian Gutierrez.
I'm in charge of the graphics today, so
Yes.
sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry in advance.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. This one sees Superman and Batman and Robin go into the ocean, as evidenced by the cover.
They go under the sea.
They go under the sea with Aquaman. Shenanigans ensue. It's not nearly as like high flying and silly as the series has been in the past. Wade is definitely like flexing his muscles when it comes to his knowledge of Atlantean DC lore. He's really just throwing it all in there. Like for a minute, I was like, I wonder if we're not going to do it, but it is Superman in the water. So like, yes, Lori, his ex-girlfriend, who's also a fish person, is going to be in it. And she is. And so is her husband, who is mad because how could he ever stack up against Superman? And I'm like, right on. And yeah, it's just, for me, this was a tough one, because while the art is fantastic, I believe Gutierrez does an amazing job like carrying on the legacy of Mora, and I'm really glad that Mora does the covers for these, because at least I think he does, because like I find that there's a real visual cohesiveness that works really well on this series. But the art is great, and Gutierrez has an unenviable task of drawing these characters underwater, and how physics is a little different under there.
Sure.
They're all wearing capes. Well, actually, they're not wearing capes, but like they have their own costumes that have to be aqua based and themed, and the whole damn thing takes place underwater. So we got to do with bubbles and the different Atlantean archaeology, architecture,
and mermaid girlfriends
and
Wait,
mer
really?
people. Oh yeah, no, Lori shows up. She's in it. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing.
I forgot her name was Lori.
Yeah, but it's like,
because how could it not be? It has to be an L name.
She's alliterative. She's LL. But like, it's just, this one was a little crowded. Let's put it that way. It wasn't bad. It certainly had the most like golden age feel to it, where it's like just everything. Here's all of it. Just it's all happening. Like at some point, I remember I reading it and I'm like, shouldn't this be over by now? Like, not that it shouldn't be like completed. It certainly isn't. Like, there's going to be like more story about them being in the water, but it just like just more things happening to them. It was very compressed. So if you're looking for like the most bang for your buck, this one felt the most like it has a lot of stuff in it.
Okay.
Just more and more like more interaction, more character stuff. Batman against the Atlanteans is an interesting concept and dynamic. Robin along for the ride.
Okay.
Huge. So yeah, I like the series. This issue in particular it felt a little overstuffed for me. But I did enjoy
capes
it.
Underwater?
They do not wear their capes underwater.
Good.
Well, Superman does.
Well, Superman can.
Yeah, but like Batman and Robin, I don't believe they do. I think they have like different aqua like themed Batman and Robin suits.
Branding.
Yeah, I did like it, but it's okay. It was a little crowded.
Okay.
Yeah. I also read The Moon is Following Us. This one by Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossimo. This is more of the this beautiful independent series about a pair of like basically what will parents do to save their children or their child. And the story deals with like selfishness and selflessness and imagination and concepts like just like toys and items that are emotionally connected to you, and mostly it's about like this kind of strained marriage between the child's parents, and these fun characters. Ooh, look at this. These fun little like characters that crop up. This book is really very well executed, but it isn't like a smash like I was hoping for. I think the first issue really like kicked the doors in, but now we're at issue 5 and it feels like we're going in circles a little bit. Like I hesitate to say that it's like a one note kind of series, but it does feel a little like maybe you need a little more time in the oven. Like it's not. I like a good rare steak as much as the next person, but this is mooing, and
Okay.
I'm just a little worried that like it's never. It's. I think it will ultimately find its audience, and I think people are going to find it in the trade and love what it is, and it will speak to people's like sensibilities, but it is not Murder Falcon. It is not Dead Earth.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's fine. And the art is the winner of this series, obviously. Like there's so much like on the page that is dynamic and action packed and fun, and just really really good comics. But the story is a little thinner than I would have wanted. And like when there's twists and turns and things that happen, I'm kind of like, not that I didn't see it coming,
Right. Right.
but it's more like, well, is that the best you got?
Oh. Okay.
So I mean, I do enjoy this series. It's a good series, fine series, but for it being, like I see Daniel Warren Johnson as kind of like in no other way than like the way that Quentin Tarantino's like, I'm only doing 10 of these.
Okay.
Like I think as far as Dubbers is concerned, he'd do 300 of these if he could get away with it.
Right.
But like every time that Daniel Warren Johnson's name is on a book,
Mhm.
it should be very special. And this book is
Mm.
special, but it doesn't have the same panache
Right.
or weight that the premise has or that the art implies.
Okay.
And
Well, you know what? They won't all be winners.
they're not. This is and this doesn't lose. It's just
It's not it.
it's not it. It's
Not
not.
it.
It's not the
Okay.
book.
Okay. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done what I just did.
Mm,
I'm getting there. I'm learning.
yes.
I am learning here. This is a work in progress. Hi, there it is. Look at that. I read FML this week. This is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by David Lopez. This is just like, it's a fun little independent book I gave a try to. And I wasn't really sure where we were going with this, and I'm still not 100% certain, but now there's like true crime, like murder investigation happening, and I'm like, I'm still interested. Like, I don't know why I'm interested. Like, it's a lot of things for me that I like. Like, I'm like, oh, like, magic stuff, like kind of quirky writing, fun art, right? But I'm like, I don't actually know what's happening. And maybe that's part of it. Like, maybe it's just compelling writing, and I'm like, I have to see this through. I have to know where this is going. But it is fun, it is quirky, and again, like, it makes me think of Scott Pilgrim. I don't think it's trying to be it. I don't think it's trying to, act like it. I think it's just like,
it's in the same. It joins that.
It's
family.
in a vein. It's in a vein,
yes,
for sure. And so like for me, I'm like, if you like that, you might like this. And it's only on issue 3, so it was really easy to go back and pick them up. But like, everybody is like at an 11. Everybody's personality is at an 11 because that's just this world that this exists in. Like every character is the most of that type of character it could be. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And one of them turned into a monster. Everyone's kind of cool with it.
All right, good.
But now also there's a murder mystery. I thought the thing was going to be about the kid being turned into a monster and how we're going to deal with that. And for him, that is what it's about.
Right.
But for other folks, like his mom, it's about like this murder mystery. And like for the band, it's about what's going on. And I'm like, it's kind of like real life in a way. And maybe that's what like compels me so much to want to read this, is like how much it feels like a, fantasy, taken to like, like I said, like 11 version of real life, where it's like everybody's got their own story going on. And I'm like, okay, so as long as they can keep the momentum and keep it feeling trim, like it kind of feels like a roller coaster in a way, where you're like chaotic and out of control, but at the end of the day,
you can trust the process.
Well, when it's over, you're like, oh,
that was exhilarating.
Yeah, like what a great ride. What I don't want is for this roller coaster to suddenly not have any more track.
Yeah.
So FML, check it out if that's your type of thing.
That's fair. Let's see here. I didn't get a chance to finish this Batman and Robin, but I wanted to. Let's go with G.I. Joe number 3.
You got it. Oh, I did it. Look at that.
Yeah. Do the other one. It's more fun.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's this one.
Mm-hmm. I read G.I. Joe number 3, Joshua Williamson, Riley Rossmo. I'm sorry, Tom Riley. Tom Riley. A lot of Rileys here. But yeah, this is it's funny how different G.I. Joe is from Transformers, and yet how they are in the same universe, because it feels like there's very different comicking going on. Daniel Warren Johnson was like, I'm doing Transformers, and I'm also, I guess, technically part of this universe, so yeah, I can throw like a cameo of some character or something like that. G.I. Joe is intrinsically in the Energon universe. It is a flagship book. It is doing a lot of things. It's setting up the G.I. Joe in a big way. It's introducing you to characters. It's working really hard to get you to be acclimated to the menagerie of G.I. Joe characters. Countless characters you've been introduced to at any given moment, and you will be. But also connect it to Transformers, connect it to Void Rivals, connect it to all this stuff that Kirkman and company are setting up. And so it's like it, and also tether it to the Cobra Commander book and the Duke book and all this stuff that like Williamson and company have been promoting. And so does it manage to continue to also do a good G.I. Joe book? And I say yeah, it does a nice job of introducing you to this world and these concepts, and yet it feels very much like this is an Avengers book in the Marvel universe during a massive crossover or during an initiative. Like this feels like Avengers, like Bendis's Avengers during one of Bendis's events. And that's kind of like the best praise I could give this, because it is like, I mean, it set up a dynasty, and it really impressively managed to win the hearts and minds of hundreds of thousands of comic book fans. So like, hopefully that does the same thing in the Energon universe. But yeah, you're watching characters infiltrate Cobra. You're seeing references to Cobra Law and like Cobra Commander's new status in the organization as opposed to in the realm he's from. And you're seeing the team kind of like coalesce after a massive defeat. And so for that, I give it a lot of praise. Riley is doing a great job with the art, balancing superheroic-esque comics with very practical, or at least like modern contemporary action adventure versus superhero costumes, but they are wearing uniforms, costumes, that kind of thing. Riley's managing to like present those in a fun and interesting way that like seems more G.I. Joe than superhero, but still, you can't help but think about it because it's in the comic book world. Good stuff overall. Good voices for all the characters, fun story. You're waiting for shoes to drop. You're only on issue 3. Characters have already died or been captured. And so it's a good stuff. It's a good series that Williamson is, helming. And I think that it's funny because like, it's not doing, if you step back and recognize like what it's doing and how much work it's working on, it's more impressive than it would normally be. Like this is a book where I would normally go like, yeah, it's fine. But knowing what it's trying to do, but also it's funny because like I think that if Transformers had as much G.I. Joe in it as G.I. Joe has Transformers, I think people would have been like, man, this Transformers book feels a little weird. Like Transformers, people are going to read it and be like, it's going to be divorced from the Energon universe. Like people will read Transformers and be like, my favorite run is this run right here of like ever of Transformers, and this is. And G.I. Joe is not just introducing you to G.I. Joe, but it's towing the line. So, good work from the team. I dig it. There's a reference to Gravity Falls in the chat, which I think is important to point out, only because Gravity Falls is a perfect show and endlessly hopeful and fun. And I'm sure you have more to say about it than I do.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have had the opportunity to introduce it to like our group. I was like, I saw it. I was like, I feel like this is something we'd be into, but like I saw it like in like a much later part of the season.
Run.
But it
was still coming out.
Yeah. I think it was Blendin's Game was my first episode, which I was like, this hits all the right notes for me.
Yeah.
And then when we watched it, we had a very different experience than anyone else. And I think personally, it was a stronger experience. We missed episode 1.
Yeah.
So we just watched on from there. So there's like a mic drop moment, which wasn't really a mic drop moment for anyone who saw episode 1 first. If you don't watch episode 1 and you just watch it and then you go back, or like, you hit this like moment where you're like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it was shown in episode 1, but you didn't need that.
Yeah.
Did not need that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that show. I do think it's perfect. I think it does a really great job of balancing family, what family means.
Yep.
What, like, I don't know, like being like part of a family, taking care of yourself, like, that family just isn't like mom, dad, sister, brother, that type of thing. It's like, it's your great uncles, it's your friends,
Mhm.
it's the handy guy who works with you and it's like a great older brother to you.
Mhm.
But what it actually means to like be in balance. And like there are times where it's like I'll be watching that show and I'm just like, I feel like Mabel is a villain at times, but she isn't. You know what I mean? It's just like she's trying to find her balance, right?
Mhm.
And the show addresses all of these things, and I absolutely love it. And Stan for me is the best Grunkle. I'm sorry.
Easily, yeah.
He's just like Ford is just, it's fine.
Yeah, Ford diminishes the show a little bit.
I don't love Ford. I think he's fine, but like Stan needed it.
Yes,
and I'm like, that's fine, but like Stan all the way,
Yep.
all the way. And Seuss, man,
Of
come on,
course.
Seuss is so funny.
Yeah, I love Seuss.
Freaking that Tiffanys episode.
Oh, unbelievable.
Is it Tiffanys?
Tiffanys? I never know. So there's a book that Tiffany and I both read that is a massive series, and I think people are talking about it.
Am I right that it's this
yes,
book
you
that
are.
I'm doing?
I have to assume that this book is successful. I hope so. It's only in issue 2, but we interviewed Ram V and talked to him about the series, hyping it up. New Gods #2, Ram V and Evan Cagle doing art. And Jesse Lonergan doing additional art as well. I mean, when this book dropped, it completely left a crater where it landed, because there's nothing like this book on the shelves being made by mainstream comics today.
No.
And it feels like it feels like a lost classic. Like it feels like a book that they found, you know what I mean? Like like a lost Mobius book from like 89 or something. It just feels like this thing that people are going to remember and talk about. It's going to be like people telling you to read Paul Jenkins' Inhumans, like where it's like, oh my god, you got to read Inhumans, and the only one to read is this one. This feels like it's just going to be a like classic New Gods. Like this is the thing people hand to you when they say, oh, I'm interested in New Gods.
That's funny because I feel like this fits in perfectly in the like pathway that Mr. Miracle set out. I feel like Mr. Miracle changed the tone on how you could look at the New Gods and Mr. Miracle.
You're talking about Tom King and Mitch Gerrard's?
Yeah. I am talking about the Tom King Mr. Miracle run. I mean, not that like Scott Free hadn't been treated hadn't had his own books and his own stories, but it just feels like that kind of changed the tone that we could see him in.
Exactly.
Along the lines, I'd say that like books like Silver Surfer Black and Doctor Strange False Sunrise kind of set the ability for writers and artists to think about characters in that way and feel like, oh yeah, I mean, not that they couldn't before, but it's like these worked.
Yes,
this worked. These worked. Let's try it here.
Like, it feels true to the character. Like,
yeah,
this feels like something you've been waiting for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's very cool. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and it blends cool with headiness, with introspection, with character. There's a lot of like awesome I want to say like high sci-fi stuff going on in here, but then you also have this beautiful moment between Barda and Scott, which is like what you would hope for from the like precedent set by Mr. Miracle, the series from Mitch and Tom, where we see basically Scott break the news of his new plan or his new mission thanks to Orion to Barda, and what Barda's reaction is to it.
I love this onomatopoeia. Again, shout out to the artist. It was obviously baked
in.
Just having, not onomatopoeia, it's her name in the background. But it was this type of moment that made me think of Tom King's Mr. Miracle without it being derivative. Like it's
its own thing.
It's its own thing, but you can see like the connection a little bit, even though obviously it's not, and that's like breaking my brain. It's breaking my brain a little bit, and I mentioned that last time.
I know, because it's not even in the same continuity as Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
What's funny is like the onomatopoeia. I love the way, you don't have to always show it up, but like I
like that way they know what we're talking about.
Well, that's true, but they can't see it right now. But the reason why I love it so much, like the way that they did this, they also did it with Orion in the first issue, where they put his name in the back and they drew it.
Yes.
It gives it that kind of like pulpy, heavy metal kind of quality as well. So you're getting a lot for your buck. You're not just getting like, you know, DC continuity stuff. Like, what does Apocalypse look like in the absence of Darkseid? What is Metron's plan or his journey now? What are these characters doing? Where are they going? All that's in there.
Yeah.
And it's all out of DC All In.
Yeah.
You know, just like how Darkseid gave himself a silly ass axe hand. And then you got this book out of that. But you also have like true, real human moments. And you also have like dope, awesome action sequences. And you have and this book has so much going on.
Oh, absolutely.
So what actually is going on? Like, what specifically is going on?
And that's really the question, right? Because there's like so much, like we get like these lore drops and these things where I'm like, I don't.
Has this always been?
Right. This has always been. I'm like, I don't pretend to know a ton about New Gods. But it's like, is this something I should know? Is this something that's going to come back up? Is this just something you're adding to flesh out this world? Like,
well, then Rom wrote it, probably it matters. Like,
well, you never know, but it feels like to me where this is going is that like, that it's like the universe needs it, like how like a crisis happens because it needs it to happen.
Yes.
It's like in the absence of Darkseid, where did that power go? What's going on with that? And Highfather seems to be trying to like end that, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
No. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore.
So I don't blame him. I mean, like, I understand that motivation.
Right. Yeah. But like, and then we have like Maxwell Lord being involved here with a character I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't, like, honestly, I can't get over the, oh, hi, we're going to look at this instead. I can't get over the texture in the back of this panel. Like that, like blew me away. I'm sure it's a brush that was created by the artist, but it's still absolutely incredible. It's
I don't know.
Incredible.
It looks, you know, that's a cross hatching that Bagley does.
Yeah, but sometimes they can make a digital brush. Like, that's you true. Drew it, and then like you make it a brush, and then you can just make it do its thing. But what you were talking about earlier about the heavy metal like feel to it, I think it also has to do with the way it's like colored.
Yes.
You know, it has like the cell shading to it. It almost feels like
older.
It feels like an important anime. Like there's something about animes for me, like what I consider to be like an important anime that sometimes has this look to it, right? It's not all of them. There are many other anime that I like that don't have a look like this, but like there are certain things that have this look.
Yes.
Right. And like that's what this comic is giving. And maybe that's why we're feeling like it feels so important or so grand. But of course, because the fact that you're dealing with a bit of like the DC cosmology, you can't help but make it feel like it's big, like it's a big deal. But yeah, like that's just what it feels like to me, is that this is dealing with the absence of Darkseid's power, and whether that be on Apocalypse or in the universe or how like Highfather has to deal with it. I do appreciate the fact that like Scott Free messed up and like wasted 3 days of his time.
Yep.
And I'm like, guys, like, come on, man.
Yeah. Time's the factor here, buddy.
He's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I also really appreciate, like, you know, having read Rom's Detective and how impenetrable it was and how unrelatable it was for me. How this is the opposite of that. It has all the hallmarks of, like, I hesitate to use the term pretension, but like, let's say that for the sake of brevity. And then there's all these like grounded, not realistic, but at least like relatable sequences with like people.
I also like the fact that we seem to have like a bit of emphasis on Light Ray in this book. Like Light Ray has come up in the first issue, and we saw him again here. He is not playing a major role right now, but I'm wondering what are we doing with Light
we're
Ray?
Setting this up. Like where is it going to go?
You know, like he's just such like a youthful, hopeful looking presence. Especially, you know, in conjunction to some of the more horrific panels that we see.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't get this panel. It's a beautiful panel though. There's this other panel of freaking Highfather being cradled, and it's like it harkens to, you know, religious iconography. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nope. I can't with this right now. It's not having it. It's not having it. But yeah, New Gods is a really interesting book. I mean, we had high hopes for it. Rumby, obviously, this is not his first time writing a comic book at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has so many like stories under his belt.
Yes.
You know, and they're always something that is either like a quiet sleeper or like, you know what I mean? Where, like his Swamp Thing, his detective. Even if it wasn't for you, you recognize like
it was a good series. Yeah,
absolutely. So you don't have to know necessarily anything about New Gods to enjoy this at all.
It does help, but
sure.
But Rom is aware that you're probably not familiar.
Absolutely.
You read an Amazing Spider-Man comic book today.
Did you not?
No.
What?
I didn't have time.
Oh.
Remember? I spent like 2 hours recording a show that doesn't exist.
Well, I suppose that's true. Yeah, I read Amazing Spider-Man 65 deaths. By I didn't pay attention to that part.
I got it.
No, I got it right here. It's by Derek Landy with art by Kev Walker.
There you go.
I thought that's who the names were, but then I was like, what if I'm incorrect about that?
It's fair. Great cover.
Great cover. Fantastic cover. 10 out of 10 cover. Look at this cover. I read this because I was like, well, I might as well see where this is going. And it very much just picks up right after the last issue where it's like Strange and Peter talking and Strange being like, you have to do this. And Peter's like, nah.
No, I quit.
No, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Goodbye. And Coulson's there.
Yes.
And so Strange talks to Coulson. Coulson's like, you can see me. He's like, I may not be the Sorcerer Supreme, but I'm still the master of the mystic arts. And I'm like, thank you for someone recognizing that.
Yeah.
So he's like, yes, I know when death is in the room. So interesting comic because it does simultaneously what Sal was talking about, where it's just like, all right, let's parade out all of the deaths that Spider-Man has witnessed in it and have like a reason for it to happen, where Coulson's trying to see like through the eyes of people he's lost. But also kind of serves to do something I thought was actually interesting, which is why I kind of wish you had a chance to read it, which I'm sure you will, if you choose to. But in this sort of like, hey, let's establish a couple of things, at least for me, because I didn't know that Coulson was death. But that has to do with the fact that the death became an Infinity Gem, and then it sought out Coulson, and Coulson was like, I don't know why me, compared to like literally anyone else in the world, like why would I be the one that the Infinity Gem chose or sought out? And we see Coulson as like a little boy, and like his grandfather dies, and he finds him, and he's like, I don't really remember much about that. He's talking to Spider-Man about it, and then he like, from dealing with Spider-Man, like unlocks his own memory in which when he was in the room with his grandfather, he sees Death. Yeah. And Death's like, you can see me? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I'll keep an eye on this. Like, what's all this about? Right. Okay. And then he proceeds to explain something to Coulson about how, like, because Coulson like asks like, oh, like, will like my grandfather go to heaven? And he's kind of like there's something beyond, but I'm not going to like tell you what it's about. But like what you should really be thinking about the fact is that when a person dies, right? Like when they die, with them, you lose the memories of the way that they saw you. So it's like the memories they have of you and the way in which they saw you is gone forever. And you should feel diminished for that. And I was like, that's a very interesting way of looking at death in general, right? Where it's like someone in your life dies, the way that the things that they remembered about you, the way that they remembered them and how they saw you, like is gone forever because no one can ever have exactly that lens. Yes. Like even if you experience like an event with someone, like if you both go to a concert, you're gonna have a different experience than that person, even if you were there together. Exactly. And that will be gone forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and the older you get, and the more people who
the more you'll be diminished. But that like when you die, like it all kind of comes together in the end, right? It's like okay. But for Spider-Man, what we come across here is that like, and again, I know for a lot of Spider-Man fans, this might be like, I don't care anymore. I'm tired of Spider-Man dying and quitting. But that they're in this like event thingy that they're doing, this arc that they're doing, they're trying to explain why these things are happening, and then like, it's like the universe has it out for Spider-Man. Like literally that's in there. And I'm like, it's not the universe, it's editorial. Yeah. And that when Spider-Man goes through like all of the deaths that he's gone through, would he be Spider-Man or the Spider-Man he is now without that? Like without all these deaths, the Spider-Man save all these lives, right? And so when Coulson comes out the other side of this and like kind of chats with Peter, Peter's like, no, I really am done. And he's like, the reeds of Ragador might save Peter Parker, but the like 10,000 deaths he just went through, like in the last issue, but the chick, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that is what has killed Spider-Man. Is that it's like it's diminished him so. And I was like,
Okay.
that's kind of interesting. There's something there.
Yeah.
But it takes you getting through the first part of the issue where they're just like, and let's just watch Uncle Ben die and watch Gwen die and like all these. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get it.
Never mind the fact that also like almost all of them except for Jean DeWolf came back to life.
Right, but not really.
No, Gwen is an alternate reality.
Right, and
puppet.
so, but that version of Gwen's like it's a different version of Gwen. That Gwen doesn't
Gwen does
have.
not remember him.
Yeah, it doesn't have those memories. It doesn't have that viewpoint.
Yeah.
So it still stands. I'd say it still stands.
Yeah.
But I thought it was honestly interesting. But I understand the exhaustion of Spider fans.
Yeah.
I understand that it's almost in a way like this book is a little meta, and it's like all of these deaths are diminishing Spider-Man fans. Like
right.
Spidey fans are being taken from. Like every time this happens, like a little bit is taken from you as well.
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe this is an indicator that the writers get it.
Yeah. Or at least
but we
Landy does.
Can't stop. It's a force of the universe.
Well, yeah, exactly. Eventually you'll be diminished and won't have to read them anymore. It's like great, cool. So yeah, I mean, that's fair. Well, I read Storm, number 4, I believe, from Murewa Ayodele, with art by Lucas Wernick. This, of course, shows Storm having been beckoned by Dr. Doom. She has given up her powers as a result of her resurrection or curing. She had radiation poisoning. Dr. Voodoo or Brother Voodoo, I don't know if he's still practicing, but Voodoo removes her death or her like illness, but she has to pay a price, and that price is 7 days without her powers. And then during that time is exactly when Dr. Doom beckons her. She rides a bird to get there. She has some very sexy sequences where she puts on lingerie and different outfits, and people on the internet were very excited about that.
Oh, I saw that.
Right. But she goes to dinner with Doom. Doom has prepared for her like some amazing meal that like her dad made for her. And it's like, he's like, I'm Doom. I know what you used to eat when you were a kid or something. I don't know. But basically Doom like accuses her of not having her powers. And so he just gives her powers back.
Well, he's Sorcerer Supreme.
Right, exactly. Except then, like the demon that Voodoo made a deal with is like, you welched on the deal. Here we go, and then kills her. And it's a fantastic sequence and a great issue that shows the power of Doom and the power of Storm. And Storm, of course, returns, but in a changed state that makes her even more powerful and epic and cool. And it's a new status quo for Storm, which I'm interested to see more of. Ayodele does like this really like he characterizes Storm and Doom in a really like fresh but familiar way that makes me like confident this is a good series that people should be reading. Also, Wernick's art is great. Fantastic, cool stuff that's going on. Action sequences, quiet, contemplative moments. Storm gets to see her dad when she dies, not her mom. Her mom's like, no, I'll see her when she actually dies. I know this is not really real, so call me when she actually dies. But yeah, beautiful moments about death, but more about the cheapness of it. The good stuff. I dig it.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. I read Jenny Sparks. We could talk about Jenny for a minute.
I know you love it.
I do. It's such a good book. So King continues with Jenny. This is, I believe, the penultimate issue of Jenny Sparks with Jeff Spokes on art, with Tom King on writing. The entire series for the last 5 issues has been Jenny and Captain Atom in a bar, and a bunch of characters I couldn't care less about who are being held hostage by Captain Atom, who wants Jenny Sparks or someone to acknowledge him as God. And Jenny has been reluctant to acknowledge him as God because she doesn't necessarily believe in him.
Sure.
And ultimately she decides finally at the penultimate issue to go, yeah, okay, I believe in you. And then so release the hostages, which he doesn't. And then she reveals that she didn't really believe him in the first place, and then cuts him down as a person and talks about how his whole God complex is a result of his powers and his connection to the military and stuff. And it's like, okay, there's something about this book. People were gravitated towards this book. The reason why I'm talking about it is because the internet blew up at the idea that Jenny has been around and she's been resurrected since after the Authority. And so she got to live through these moments. And King's whole point about bringing back Jenny is that the 20th century never ended after 9/11. And it's just been hit after hit after hit, and those hits are perpetrated by the progenitors and purveyors of the 20th century versus the 20. We haven't been allowed. We've society, humanity, American life has been arrested since the 20th century, and we haven't been allowed to progress into the 21st century, which is why Jenny endures. And through that we see Jenny's impatience and her frustration, which one could interpret as just King's version of Jenny from the Authority, which is one interpretation, but King's not a hack. Right. So there is this kind of impatience and frustration that Jenny feels with her being still here and with humanity not moving on and advancing. And it's that I get that. That's a smart move, and it's a fine interpretation, although it is frustrating to read, month to month.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're still reading it. It seemed like you were going to be off of it, and then
there's only one more issue left. What the hell? And the book is well written.
Okay.
But I have to. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I need to find out where it's going. I have to see where this series is heading. I think I could probably guess, but I'd like to get there. But there's a whole sequence where COVID happens, and basically Jenny is sick of masks and dealing with it, and so she just basically calls Superman. She's like, fix this. I don't want to do this anymore. And Superman's like, it's a virus, I can't punch it. You have to just put your mask on and take care of yourself like everybody else. We all just have to wait. And it's a very powerful and realistic, and and honestly it's a refreshing message, which is just kind of hey, we all needed to just take a minute. That was putting aside the loss.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment for humanity to progress again, just like 9/11, just all these seminal moments in our history, in our recent history, where it's here's an opportunity. Not that these are great moments, but these are horrible and experience. But humanity typically makes a seismic shift or a quantum leap, lowercase q's and l's, to get to the next phase,
right
out of these horrible tragedies and these adversities, and we don't, and or we haven't, and COVID is another example of that. And people interpreted Jenny's frustration and lack of desire to wear a mask with her being an anti-masker, and I'm like, no.
Right.
She's over 100, she's hundreds of years old, or she's 100 years old. Know anyone over the age of 60 who was told, oh, by the way, you have to do this now,
right?
This thing that is by definition obtrusive and invasive and frustrating, and just okay, you got the new order, now do that until nothing. I don't have a date for you. No, and by no I mean damn it.
right
And so I'm like, that's there's something there. There's a point to be made, and I appreciate it. All right.
You're but
it's frustrating because also the whole damn thing takes place in a freaking bar, and Captain Atom is yet another character who's sad because he has so much power. And we did a whole short on our main channel about it. You can watch Ethan make fun of it. But it's fine. The I don't disagree with King on any particular point, but it's frustrating to read sometimes. Yeah, also, the Justice League is dead. He murdered all of them.
Oh, well, it's Black Label book.
They'll be back. Because I don't know if it's in canon, because
it's a Black Label book.
Doesn't matter. Black Label doesn't mean anything. I don't know if you know this.
But it does.
You made a whole video about how it doesn't matter.
Did we?
Yeah. It's called Batman Damned.
It does. Okay. All right, my turn.
Yeah.
This is happening now.
All right.
It's the question.
Sweet.
There it is. Question. The question all along the Watchtower. This issue is called Hunted.
Yep.
And it's written by Alex Seguera with art by Cyan Tormey. I left this page open on purpose.
So you could know those creators.
100%. Here's the question. A book I never thought I'd be reading, but I'm at 3 issues in and I have no idea of stopping now.
Yeah.
You know,
I had a feeling you'd love Renee.
Well, I do love Renee as the question. Here's what I think is funny after reading this issue. It's like this all in just started. Right. We just all got on the Watchtower. Everybody's powers all messed up, which I totally forgot about that plot point because I'm not reading any other books about it.
After Absolute Power, yeah.
Yeah. Is anyone dealing with that right now?
Superman is kind of dealing with it.
Kind of, but like I feel like that should there's an opportunity there.
Well, I don't know. You tell me. Is it happening in Flash? I know Barry lost his powers, remember?
Yeah. But I mean, like the idea is like some people have their other people's powers.
Yes.
And I was like, where are like the
Justice
little
League is dealing with it. The main Justice League Unlimited.
I was like, where are the little one-offs about that?
Yeah, Justice League Unlimited is doing that.
Where it's like fire and ice. Like, what are they doing?
Oh
no.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do this. But this reminded me of that. I was like, oh yeah. But it's like everyone just got up there and immediately they're like, something's afoot. Get Renee Montoya up here now.
Well, she's already been there. And she's their head of security.
Yeah, no, this is about like her going up there, but it's like post all in.
Oh, that's weird.
And I'm like, but this all just happened. Like we immediately like, oh no, something bad is happening. Like I don't know if that's just the Justice League. Like it normally is. Yeah. So we figure we'll just get a jump on this now.
When they formed Unlimited, then Darkseid showed up with a stupid axe hand and the Spectre's power. So it's like, yeah, we never got a minute.
Yeah, they never get a minute. They never get. No,
sometimes they do. When Jeff Johns is writing it,
sure,
they have a minute.
They got a second. But yeah, so she obviously has been dealing with like something seems up and immediately she wasn't really sure what to be looking for, and we got all these clues, right? You know, there was an attempted murder, and oh my gosh, it seemed like it was Batwoman, but it wasn't that. And then Eradicator showed up, and it's like we had to fight him, but like what the hell is happening here, right? Mm-hmm. And so in this, it's like she's starting to put it together, and like she's trying really, really hard to do that, right? Like she is clearly like, I feel like I'm missing something, right? And she finds like a piece of metal, right? And it has like a T-1000 kind of effect to it when she drops in, and she's like, oh, and it kind of goes off, and like I was like, don't you follow it at that point? But I guess, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. What do I know, right? But she's putting all her little pieces together here, which honestly, I was just like, I can't wait for you to tell me what's going on here because I do not know where these pieces are leading. But she goes to talk with Batwoman, and meanwhile, it's like, oh no, like someone's taking the Blue Beetles off the table, both of them, because both Blue Beetles are on her team or in this book.
Yes.
And in a moment that like made me for a second, as I told Sal, feel like I was a precog. Because Sal was watching like a YouTube short or something like that about Nightshade.
Yeah, well, it was from Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, the movie.
There you go.
Featured Nightshade, and she was being puppeted by Gorilla Grodd in the sequence I was watching.
Right, and like in this, Nightshade's there, and she indicates that she's not herself today. And I'm like, is she under the influence of something or not? But like, it blew my mind because I was not really watching it. You had it on, and like this happened. I was like, did I just guess the future? Wait, no, never mind. No, never mind. It's just they're just using her in a similar fashion again. But the whole thought here is to like bring someone back, right? Like who are we bringing back? They want to bring someone back, and that
back from where?
From somewhere, right? I think Who's they?
Who wants to do that?
Eradicator, Superman, and like those who are being controlled by some other thing.
Okay,
right? So we go and have like an interrogation moment with Renee and Batwoman and Eradicator, where she's like, I want you to just tell me who you're working for. And he's like, it's already over. I don't know why you care. She has a kryptonite ring, and so she asks him to open it up, and she just like goes to town, just beating on him. Cool. But inevitably, obviously, that's not going to work. Because it's like, why? Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Just don't do that. And so like she threatens to throw him into the Phantom Zone, which I think is actually what they're like. Someone is in the Phantom Zone, and that's where they're coming from. And it's like, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? What's going on, right? And it turns out like the issue in the Watchtower is that the Watchtower itself is going to be taken over.
Oh no!
And be utilized as like a weapon to control itself, right? And like making it like liquid metal, essentially.
Okay.
Right. And it's revealed that it's Cyborg Superman.
Okay.
Which I was like, okay, so we're heading into the summer of Superman.
Yep.
Let's throw in some Superman villain-esque things in other books having to deal with the Watchtower.
Yeah.
I will probably read the next one because I guess I want to know why. Like I want to understand why all of this is happening, like the why behind it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just share this real quick. There you go.
Yeah, look, it's that guy from the 90s.
It looks cool. It's two guys from the 90s hanging out there together. Look at them all. I like this book. I like the characters. I like the way Renee is written.
Yeah.
I like her sarcasm and her sass.
Mhm.
But now I'm like, what mystery is there
Yeah.
now? And this is supposed to be a mystery book. So where are we going? Are we going to just turn this into a punching,
I think
kicking
it's
book?
gonna be a punching,
Or
kicking
is it
book,
going to
right.
be like there's something else? There's another layer. Like,
Yeah.
what's the other layer? I don't know.
I don't know, but that's
I
I mean,
know.
like I remember us doing when we used to do Good, Bad, and Ugly. We did one about that gold guy.
Yeah, who's that gold guy?
I don't
I mean,
remember his
like
name.
I remember like he's in this and he's
Yeah.
mentioned, but
Oh, is he? That's great.
I just didn't really pay attention.
No,
I'll be
who
honest with
cares?
you. I mean, I did. I read it. I read
No,
the
I
whole
know.
thing, but like that wasn't. I was like, oh, it's Cyber. Like that's what really stuck out.
Yes.
Obviously,
So,
in my.
no, it's Cyborg Superman.
Oh no, it's Cyborg Superman. Like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and you know, like I said, like it feels like it's like an effort to filter into everything going on Superman wise, but
Mhm.
maybe not trying to beat you over the head with it necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why not? What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
It's kind of fun. I like it.
Yeah,
It's so
you
it's so
it
well
seemed
written.
like you were less excited about it than you used to be.
Well, it's only because of the mystery thing. But we'll see. I need to give it another issue to see if we're going to keep doing mystery stuff. But
Sure.
I like her.
Yeah.
I like the look. I like the idea. I like that she's like a sheriff. The whole thing. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know, in like her figuring this whole thing out and like trying to explain her thought process.
Oh, sure.
I think that's kind of cool. I think it's fun. And like obviously dealing with the fact that like one of her coworkers is a former love interest.
Yes.
And the fact that she like accused her of
Murder.
this is all very interesting.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like Cyborg Superman is the literal least interesting thing in the book
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
But as we have been introducing like would-be villains, they
Mhm.
don't last very long.
No.
Like before we're moving on to the next thing. So I'm kind of like, I don't think this is going to be an ongoing
Yes.
issue. Hopefully. I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll
That was
find out.
Conduit. Thank you. Someone in the chat
Thank
reminded
you.
me.
That is exactly
Conduit.
who it is.
Yeah.
It is Conduit.
That's a great pull.
Is it? Sure.
I mean, it's a fun pull because nobody uses that character.
Right. I mean,
and putting him next to Cyborg Superman is like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he was already defeated by that point, but still. Yeah, and then we read another book that is on the top of the charts. People are talking about it all over the place. It's #1 book of the month, I think, or at the very least week. And that, of course, is in the Ultimate Universe. Ultimate Wolverine is here, everybody. Oh boy! And I need to print a retraction. I said it was camp. It was Chris Condon who wrote Ultimate Wolverine. With art this time by Moon Knight veteran Alessandro Capuccio. Man, yeah.
Welcome everyone. If you have not been reading Moon Knight,
this is what the book looked like all the time.
You missed out. Like I gotta tell you,
yeah.
Moon
Knight looked great. It was a good looking book, and now this is too. So yeah, the idea here is introduce Ultimate Wolverine long after the fact. What does it do with the Ultimate X-Men from Peach Momoko? Absolutely nothing. In fact, none of the X-Men are in that book. So here they are in this one. Ultimate Wolverine, we're merging the idea that like Winter Soldier and Wolverine are the same like character, not the same names. I think it's Logan. But
they refer to him as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but they refer to him as Wolverine. Yeah, but he's not Bucky. It's not like they made Bucky into
I see what you mean.
The Winter Soldier. They
I
didn't
understand.
But yeah, so in this idea, this is like it also feels like the most connected because like we watched the maker basically like muck with Wolverine in a big way. Where like even early on, Professor X was like trying to recruit people, and Maker's like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how he could have possibly beaten Professor X, but okay. But yeah, so essentially the Maker is working around Wolverine to try and like push him I can't kill Wolverine. Wolverine is unkillable. How do you deal with that? Yeah. So he just pushes Wolverine into someone else's book until eventually he's a Winter Soldier character. And so Eurasia, which I think was a great pull. I was like, I didn't see that in anything. That's funny that because it's like the North American Union or something like that. Eurasia, of course, was one of the countries that we were at war with in 1984, which is incredibly prescient in today's world. I look forward to drinking my victory gin with the rest of you guys in the next year or two. But victory is strength. But yeah, this is Wolverine. Just like look at him kill people. Watch Wolverine kill people with a mask on his face. It is an action oriented, like action first Ultimate book. Out of all the Ultimate books, this one is action first. Forward. Mm-hmm. Watch Wolverine slice and dice.
Yeah.
And essentially, he's Winter Soldier. The Eurasian team of the Rasputins use him as a weapon against their enemies, and he wants to know more about who he is. And he has a dark past. I don't know if you're familiar with that concept of Wolverine. The unsung hero of this book is Cappuccio. Cappuccio draws an amazing. There's one panel in particular. I don't want you to pull it up, but it's an amazing sequence where there's a bait and switch. This character shows up, fights Wolverine. You're like, oh, Wolverine kills them, and then they revert into who they really are. Yeah. And that moment of their reveal is just so expertly depicted. I was like, this is great. Yeah,
that's funny. For me, I'm going to start with the art.
Yeah,
because Cappuccio for me, I love Cappuccio, and I have loved Cappuccio. I mean, I was the person who, when they first got on Moon Knight, was like, we're almost there.
Yeah.
But throughout Moon Knight, which had a long run on the various Moon Knight titles, really, like, just the art is so tight.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so action packed. I absolutely love their line work so much. Like, just the way they handle shadows, the quality of the line itself. The overhead shot of the forest. I was like, that's it. That's everything you need to know about Cappuccio. It's just gorgeous work.
Yes.
For me, this issue just did not get me excited for Ultimate Wolverine. Personally,
yeah.
It felt very safe.
It did. It felt like this could have been a Wolverine book.
Which is so funny because but unlike with Black Panther, where I'm very interested in that, I think some people felt like it was there's nothing happening, and to them that feels safe, right? People are giving that a hard time, but because of the fact that Wolverine kills people in this, I think this is getting a pass.
Yes.
But this felt very safe in terms of a Wolverine first issue when you could do literally anything with Wolverine.
Well, and especially with it being an Ultimate book. This should be the most innovative. It should be the most different.
Yes.
Not that it needs to be different to be good, but certainly when you're buying an Ultimate book, just like you're buying an Absolute book, you need to justify your existence, because otherwise, why isn't it in continuity? And with a Wolverine, but I mean, there are 3 other Wolverine books on the shelves you could buy, 2 of which are also out of continuity.
Right.
Why not just do something new? This is new enough.
Yes. No, it is
because
new enough.
We haven't gotten an in continuity, current timeline. Wolverine is a weapon since Enemy of the State.
Right.
But that was also in continuity. This is fine.
And it's only the first issue. They might be pulling more. It could just be because it was the first. They're like, let's just.
But he killed characters that you know and recognize from the other universe. Oh no!
Right. Which I thought was also interesting. As I was reading this, I realized that there's always a ton of X-Men books going on, right? Yes. And they're always either within the same storyline, oh yeah, we're doing this, but we're also doing this over here. And sometimes they're not, right? But I thought this was interesting that they were like, we're going to launch the Ultimate Wolverine book, and it's going to feel the most like a regular Wolverine book, while Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is running. It is so drastically different that obviously people can't help but compare these two. You dropped several other mutants in here. Obviously we've already seen the Rasputins, but there we got with Mystique, we've got Kurt in this, and it's obviously you're going to think X-Men, right? And you're not going to be able to help but start making comparison between the two. And that for me was a little poor form on their part. There's a million Ultimate books you could have done in different parts of the universe, but obviously you want to cash in on Wolverine.
100%.
Completely understand.
I would make that deal too. A damn good deal. I
totally would understand it, but I couldn't help but feel that a little bit. I'm not trying to diminish anyone else's enjoyment of this book, but to be honest, if you have been reading the other Ultimate books, this was so safe.
And
so safe.
And not only that, if you're reading the other Wolverine books, this feels like more of the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. And again, the thing is, the art on this is probably the best of all the Wolverine books, with the notable exception being Wolverine Revenge. But even then, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Not that it doesn't matter in terms of continuity, it doesn't, but I don't care.
Right.
I have not cared about what's happened in Wolverine Revenge in the whole series. I read it and I'm like, okay, I hope Capullo draws something I want to see.
Right. Right.
But this looks great. It's the best looking Wolverine book on the shelves.
No, it looked phenomenal, and I don't want to take that away, because it really does look great. And I have a feeling this will absolutely people are going to like this book, and I don't think you shouldn't like this book, but it's an Ultimate book. And so for me, I was looking for, what are we doing different?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
I was just looking for something new, or at least something fresh. I was like, oh man, what are they going to do with this? And they released a lot. I saw a lot of stuff on this book ahead of its release. I saw at least the first 3 or 4 pages a month ago. And then, thanks to the internet, I saw the whole sequence of him killing people.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, it's a fine series, but nothing really to write home about.
Right, exactly.
So,
but again, Capuccio, doing great work.
Yeah.
Hope you get more work this
yeah.
because you're great. I miss you on Moon Knight. Please come back.
Yeah.
Please find time to do that too.
Right.
Somehow. Not that the new artist isn't doing great. It's just I miss Capuccio over there.
Yeah.
Really just brought that world to life. Just like he will bring this world to life as well.
Yeah.
I'll still read a second issue of this. I will still check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully we get a little something more. I think also for me at this point, much like you have fatigue when it comes to Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little fatigued on
X-Men.
Colossus being a jerk.
No,
and I know he's
we talked about that before.
I know, but this book really sent it home for me.
My God,
because
I'm
like
so
he has been in this role in the Ultimate Universe. It's been
since the beginning,
right? So it's like that really is not a surprise.
No,
but then it's like obviously in Krakoa we had that going on, and he's kind of pulled from there.
And he's a bad guy in the Revenge book,
and you know what I mean. I'm just kind of like,
okay. So Colossus is bad. Like you just want Colossus to be a bad guy because I'm really tired of it. Or at least I'm tired of you doing the half measures of like, oh, poor Colossus, you guy, and it's like no, either make him a villain or don't.
Yeah,
I mean, we had to deal with so many too long of him wearing that dumbass Juggernaut helmet.
Right, but it's like if you weren't reading through Krakoa and you didn't read that Revenge book, that doesn't make any sense, and you're not going to be thinking about it. So, I do want to step back and look at that objectively. That the fact is, it's like not everyone is reading all of the titles.
No,
and so
right.
For you, you're like, this could be brand new and fun.
New.
I don't know. But yeah, for me, I'm just kind of like,
okay. I know. But what's your book of the week? Make this go away because.
I should have had a graphic that said book of the week.
Yeah, you didn't have time to make that.
I didn't even think of that until just this moment.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, it's a tough one, but I think I got to give it to New Gods because nothing else looks like this book. This book is just such a treasure to see, if not to read. It is to read, but also just to look at.
Yes.
It's a triumph. I wanted to give it to Storm because it's just it was a fun read and it felt like a quintessential Marvel comic.
Yeah.
But this book is special.
I almost could give it to Ultimate Spider-Man because it actually made me think.
Yes.
But New Gods really is, like you said, it is a triumph. It hits it on every level of beautiful art.
Mm-hmm.
Great lore drops.
Yeah.
And I mean that Barda moment. Come on.
Oh, I know.
Come on. Yeah, it's gotta be New Gods number 2 for me.
New Gods book of the week. We're on the same page.
Ta-da! Oh, wait, there it is. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's right. So let's jump into some super chats for the folks at home who have asked questions and waited patiently.
Got this.
Tea Time 480 says ComicPop been watching rewatching Community lately. Well, nice.
Hey,
fantastic series. Even the Gas League year has a couple of fun episodes.
Sure. Oh, that's it. I swear I'm gonna get this. Kettler will defend for treats. Sending y'all some positive vibes and love. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
He's a cat.
No.
Tea Time 480. Also, now the Community is exclusively streaming on Peacock. They put the D&D episode back.
Wow.
Nice. I will say I didn't miss it because I have it on Blu-ray because physical media isn't dead and deserves to be reminded of. I have a number of wonderful 4K Blu-rays. We watched The Thing yesterday on 4K. It looks amazing.
This is where our moderator, Danielle, finds out about that.
Yep, sorry. Well, watch it again. I love that movie. Happy to watch it again.
Hoaxilla is saying happy Monday to the best power couple of the community and everyone who gathers together for some chill Monday afternoon.
Damn right,
Well,
folks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hoaxilla. Appreciate you.
Yeah, KPHM42 says Kenny Porter here. Just wanted to support the show. Well, thank you, Kenny. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you again. How are you, man?
Un faisant 11.
Oui.
I don't know if that's correct. I reread Amazing Spider-Man number 500 to feel good yesterday.
There you go. 500 is a fantastic issue. It's been diminishing returns.
Wow.
Alessandre de Bon Brossard says, hugs, Sal and Tiff. My favorite comfort comics is Ryan North. Squirrel Girl, so uplifting and kicks butts. Any chance of seeing it on back issues? Maybe. I don't see it happening. Squirrel Girl, it's funny that when that book was coming out, it caused a real storm of bad ideas and opinions from the internet. and I really don't want to invite that kind of nonsense. But we did talk about it at length in an old episode of Off the Rack in the offices of Comixology.
Wow.
And that is still available
that's
on the Prime
right.
channel. So check out that episode. Just look us up. Right, Squirrel Girl and ComicPop. You'll probably find it.
Hey, Tea Time coming back. Tea Time 480 saying, Tiffany, thank you so much for recommending Zatanna. Bring down the house. I really enjoyed it. Also, Alison Brie as Zatanna in the DCU could be cool. I love that idea.
Oh, yeah.
I love that idea so much.
Mhm.
I think she'd be great.
I agree.
I'd love to see Alison Brie deal with Constantine.
100%.
Be so good.
Yeah. He also says, and thank you both.
They also say, we don't know.
I'm sorry. And they also say, thank you both for the comfort comic recommendations, especially nowadays. Happy to help, man. Or you.
Bear Farmer coming in saying New Frontier and Bone for my feel good books. 100%.
Fantastic recommendation. I also want to throw out there the Batman Mark Russell book. That one has been fantastic, though it's not over. Which means the Superman book must be also fantastic. But also I was thinking of that because of Mike Allred's art. The Dan Slott Silver Surfer book is a feel good book as well.
Someone had mentioned Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In the end, yes.
Right.
Nope. That one.
Matt Fisher says, "Hey, Lori and Lori's husband. Sorry, that's all. I've got this week. I'm too tired. That's all I've got this week. I'm tired."
I love that. We're talking about the
the Superman or the Batman Superman book.
MJ Looney saying reread Superman Birthright yesterday. It still holds up.
Yep.
Hoping to see more Superman back issues around the release of the new film. Thanks from the UK.
Hey,
well, cheers.
Jamzilla says, "Hope you guys are doing well. After today, I just want to make it to Wednesday so I can read Ultimate Spider-Man 13. What do you guys come for comic books?" Well, I think we've answered that question to an extreme. So thank you.
Got any more?
Question. I mean, I love that Bone recommendation. I like that, you could read some older favorite books. It's a book that I really enjoy that is a feel-good, all-ages book that you'll never find. It's called The Fly from Impact Comics, which was when DC licensed the Archie superhero books and then put them out under another label. Mark Waid was involved in that run, so definitely not. He didn't write that run, but he was involved in that initiative. So check out The Fly. You can get it in every dollar bin. Nikki T.
Nikki T saying, love the recent back issues. R.I.P. Tempest Fugonaut. We hardly knew ye. Literally, on your idiotic quest. Seriously, what was even the point?
There was no point. It was just dumb. Hulkzilla, hot Belgian waffles. Hot Belgian waffles. Nice.
A secret boss says, I like the new production with the covers and panels on the right of the video.
Yeah, I like that too. We just stumbled on that.
That was me. That was me being in charge of this.
Great idea. That's how it's going to be from now on. Nikki T, Spider-Man, I quit. Everyone reading. Of course you are. Yeah, agreed.
Stupid Sandwich coming in saying, a part of me wonders if Peter referencing the many deaths of his doppelgangers via Morlun in Dan Slott's Spider-Verse, and that is what left him feeling untethered to reality.
I don't see that happening. I think that no one's going to be referring to that ever. But
you didn't even read the issue.
No, I didn't. But there's no way he's referring to any.
I assume we're referring to what had just happened, but I don't know. Who knows?
Roger says, you've been my amazing commute friends. I just enjoy being a part of the ComicPop community and listening to you guys. Thank you. Well, thank you, Roger.
Thanks for being part of the community.
Yeah, I hope that you have joined.
Okay, and taking us along on your commute.
Exactly. We're happy to ride with you. Definitely join up our Discord. It's free. It's in the description of every video. So click that link and go over there, and you can carry on the conversation from here. I don't make any money off it or anything, but it's still
whatever. We like having it.
Yeah. Chris Fit 138. I had a huge hunch a while ago that you'd be all about Batman Dark Patterns because it scratches a classic Batman itch some of us definitely have. Agreed.
100%. He saw the cover. He was in.
Yeah, that was it.
Stupid Sandwich coming back to say, do you suppose it's intentional that that Ultimate Wolverine's costume kind of looks like Ultimate Deadpool?
That's funny. It kind of does. Yeah. I always thought that it looked like Wolverine and Wolverine's suit from X-Men Evolution. But I think you're onto something there. Bear Farmer, as a massive Nightcrawler for Ultimate Wolverine, fan of Ultimate Wolverine, made me go from ecstatic to kind of annoyed at the books. Felt like a waste of him and Mystique, to be honest. I think that was one of those things where they were like, we're not going to use those characters. Like Hickman says, we're not going to use those characters, so you can kill them right away. He also goes on to say, Rob said that he wasn't reading any X-Men titles because he was upset with how they fumbled the Fall of X. Do you think this has hurt X-Men sales? I didn't read after issue 2 of one of the new X books.
So, if you don't mind. So
you have an opinion?
I have an opinion on this.
Good thought.
I think no matter what, it was gonna be a different set of sales figures we were looking at, because I think so many new people jumped onto Krakoa along with existing X fans who stayed on or jumped off at that point.
Yep.
But I don't know if a lot of the new readers are gonna feel like they wanted to continue on, especially with the way Fall kind of ended. I mean, it did have a definitive end, but like I said, like it feels like it gave us a jumping off point. It gave us a point to go like, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and off I go. So in terms of hurting sales, I don't know necessarily. I think so many fans who did not like Krakoa were so ready for this.
Yeah.
So hopefully they picked it up. But obviously the juggernaut that is Hickman, if you compared the figures to when House or Hawks and Pox launched.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really necessarily want to look at them as apples and apples or even apples and oranges. Like they're just two different things. They're two different runs. And I hope that all the creative teams are, getting good feedback and enjoying their stories and their successes. But the fact is, like, I feel like some folks did feel like A, there's a jumping off point, but B, some folks probably felt like Krakoa and this whole era just kind of got shuffled away.
Yep.
Just like, okay, go, you can put it over there. Put it over there. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if Hickman hands the reins over to Dennis Camp, I will never read another Hickman book again, and I will never trust Marvel again. Like, if you know what I mean, because that's what Hickman did. Like Hickman was like, "Here, Duggan, you can do Hawks or whatever the hell it's called. I don't care."
Well, I feel like that was a very distinct thing, and we don't know 100%. We weren't there. We've heard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, someone's gonna come in and go like,
the
well, and actually,
my
if
favorite
you watch this
podcast.
podcast, well, you're watching this podcast. Hi. What I'm saying is, none of us were there.
Yeah.
So you have the word of one of the people who was there and not the other side of it, right? Like we were not there. We can't know for sure what happened. We have one viewpoint on that.
Right.
And it's like, hopefully Marvel learned from their experience with working with him. But the fact is, if Ultimate is selling well, they might push to have it go longer than maybe Hickman wants it to go.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like it's like Hickman often tells a good story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I'm still gonna read the next thing he puts out.
I agree. I'm not. But
okay,
let's see here. King of New York.
Yeah, King of New York says, you're both very cute. Well, thank you. Have a great week. Well, thank you. You have a great week too.
Cuter than others, so
it's Kirby.
Yeah. Dante Cook. Hey, ComicPop family. I love the interview with Glenn. That's Glenn Greenberg. Check out that episode if you haven't already. Hearing all the tea about early Marvel is so fascinating. Plus, it's like we get to see Kid Sal today, which is always lovely to see. Hope to see Glenn again. Definitely. No, Glenn's coming back. We're going to do another one.
Hey,
Glenn's fantastic.
love that.
Thank you so much for checking out that episode, by the way.
Hey, Kevbot saying, the world is chaotic these days. So thank you for continuing to add to my comic book escapism. My New Gods copy arrives tomorrow, and now I'm super hyped to read it.
Enjoy.
Well, thank you so much. Totally get that feeling. I'm happy we can be here for you.
Yeah. Kyle Carter, any chance we get Dark Spaces Dungeon next Halloween on back issues? Well, that's probably not a bad idea.
I love that book. And I would love to do it. I'm almost afraid of how dark it is. And I think there's like several things that Ethan's going to pull apart, and I'm gonna be like, Ethan, shut up.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the damn book.
We should do it. We'll do it as part of like the spooktacular.
Okay.
Let's see here. Bear Farmer says last super chat last super chat just to ask for Harbor Patrol number 2. I agree. I think it'd be a fantastic idea.
Stupid Sandwich saying, would you ever consider doing more funny books from Bongo Comics?
Nope, we're not doing that anymore. But thank you for the recommendation. And Danby900 says Thor: The Mighty Avenger by Roger Landridge and Chris Samnee is great all ages feel good comic. It's a Thor team up series with someone new every issue. I love that. That's a fun idea. Great.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Obviously, Ultimate Spider-Man number 13.
You got yours already?
Yep. Hooray. I can't wait for this series. You can always just scroll through my phone.
Nope, I'm going to do it here.
Okay. Detective Comics number 1093. That's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that series as well. I see that Pete's smooching with Felicia in Amazing Spider-Man 66, so I guess I'll read that one as well. Superman 22 from the team, Williamson and Mora. I can't wait. Justice League Unlimited number 3. We'll see how that series goes. Wonder Woman 17. We're seeing the return of the King series. This may be a book you want to check out after this past Wednesday. In fact, you may want to check this book out on the same day the back issues drops, because maybe we're talking about a series that looks a lot like that. I was just crapping all over it, but Wolverine Revenge Red Band number 4 is coming out, as long as the regular one as well. We'll see how Revenge goes. I have to read it. I have to see how it goes. I mean, come on. There's some more here. I haven't.
I got some. Did you already see Absolute Wonder Woman?
I did not,
because
I left it for you.
Absolute Wonder Woman number 4 is dropping. You know I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm
I love
also here
this.
for it, for the record, but I don't want to take it away from you.
Let's go.
It's a
I
great
love it.
series.
I can't wait. Literally cannot wait for that to come out.
Yep.
You can see I was just as ready as Sal is. Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon
Okay.
with J. Michael Straczynski.
Evidently.
What? Look at this.
Yeah, what? I've never seen this before. It's not even in my list.
What? Am I? No, I'm on the right time. I'm on the right day. Maybe.
It says March.
Well, yeah, but it says release January 2nd.
All right. Well, there we go.
I'm just saying. I
Dr.
am
Doom and Rocket
just
Raccoon.
saying
All
that
right.
this exists. There it is. Everybody can see it. There it is.
Thing.
Look at this happening right now.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Folks, what is that?
I don't know.
What?
Well, I guess I'll read that.
If it has JMS on it, Sal has to try it.
Yeah.
Flash number 17 will be dropping. I will stick with this for a bit longer, as this is becoming more of a traditional Flash book. I think I'm finding my interest waning. But I'm glad for fans of Flash, as their interest is growing.
Yeah.
I think that's great for all of you, honestly. Let's see. Oh, if you're reading Wolverine number 2 drops.
Nah.
I might. I don't know. Sometimes.
Yeah, I got things to do.
Sometimes I'm like, I can't help myself.
Hey,
I have to watch it.
Kid Venom.
Oh my gosh. Kid Venom number 4 is coming out. Is this the last issue of Kid Venom?
Yes.
All right. Kid Venom number 4 is dropping. Like 3 people are reading this. I'm one of them.
Yes, both of you are enjoying this book.
Me and Tagami themselves, we're reading it. That's about it. I swear. And that's okay. You know, that is fine. I like the book for what it is. I didn't expect to enjoy it. There's actually more of it I could read. I missed out on like the origin stuff. So I can go back and read that, which is always fun.
Oh, totally.
Have an opportunity to do that. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, Ninja Turtles Naruto number 2 is dropping. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think this is a smart idea. I would not care. I couldn't care less about Naruto, but I do appreciate that. Like, that's a really smart team. Like that, I would make that deal myself. If they were like, "Oh, we were thinking maybe we want to do a crossover with Naruto," I'd be like, "Done. Let's grab that bag."
Yeah, grab that bag. Tin Can Society number 5 is dropping. I like this book a lot.
Yep.
I think it's really fun. I get to catch up because I definitely did not read the last one. Hey, this is what if Galactus transformed Rogue now?
There's a couple of them.
They become a power couple.
They did what if he transformed Moon Knight recently?
Oh, fantastic. I love this for us. So freaking much.
Yeah. Not reading it though.
And then obviously the most important book that will be dropping this week is, of course, Terminator number 4.
Yep.
Will be coming out. So I don't know what's going on in the main book, but you know what? Here's the thing. Sal's backup is going on, and that's the most important thing.
No, you're very kind. Thank you. Yes. Colin Craker is drawing the backup. It's totally worth reading. Definitely worth just for the art alone. Obviously, you know, it's a 10-page story.
Broken bigger.
Up. Yeah, there you go. That way you can recognize it on the shelf. But yes, Terminator number 5 from Shalvey and Ray. Main book, main story. Colin Craker and I did a 10-page backup, which is broken up by 2 pages apiece for 5 issues. So this is the penultimate issue for our run, though Terminator will continue. I've seen solicitations for issues 6 and 7, though neither, Colin's actually doing the coloring for all the main series as well. So But neither Colin nor myself are drawing or writing anything in the series after issue 5. Issue 4 is coming out this Wednesday, so check that out if you haven't already pre-ordered it. But I know most of you did.
Get it. Get that
and,
bag.
And if you're interested, yes, get a bag and put the book in it.
Put the book in the bag.
Grab that poly bag.
Get a bag and a board,
and then put your book in.
Don't raw dog it.
No.
With your comics.
Thank you, Chip. But yes, and then this is the penultimate issue. Issue 5 drops on February 19th.
Heck yes!
So definitely make sure to tell your comic book store that you want a copy of Terminator number 5.
What?
And then eventually, hopefully, they'll be collected into a trade paperback, and we'll be inundating you with that information as well to let you know that if you missed the first 5 issues and you want to just read the whole damn thing in one go, you can pre-order the trade paperback and you can read the whole thing from there.
Exactly. I was trying to find the Chip Zdarsky thing.
Yeah.
Because people are like, what?
Yeah, what are you talking about? It's the Zdarsky Comic News.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Which is just a phenomenal little piece of
oh my God.
news, I guess. Chip Zdarsky has put together just a really fun little periodical that every comic book store can get for free, but doesn't for some reason. And yeah, it's great.
It was for an upcoming issue. I just want everyone to understand. I didn't just say that randomly.
Yeah, this is after the third next issue.
Yeah, you can see bagged and board why some comic fans are raw dogging their collection. Okay, that's where it came from, everyone.
Yeah, that's a Chip term. I mean, it is a real term, but Chip used it when it came to bagging and board. But yeah, so we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. We really, really appreciate you. Of course, there are still a few more, so let's jump into those as well. I believe Typical Spider says, new thumbnail looks great. Thank you very much. Excited for the possibility of a certain Dark Crisis on back issues this year. Yeah, one of these days this year. We will be. One of these days. We're going to have a crisis. Yep. Big thanks, Chocobo Kid, for your super sticker. We will take a look at that.
I'm pulling it up. You just give me a second. It's happening.
Jason Hedelson giving us hands. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Throwing hands, so to speak.
Well, it's not throw hands.
No. Tea Time 480. Just what a great face. Thank you, Chocobo Kid.
Yes.
Tea Time 480. It's he, him. Thank you. Thank you both. Also, that JMD Mateus Constantine movie is awesome. Highly recommend. I need Matt Ryan's John in the DCU. He's even pushing Spurrier's Hellblazer on his socials. That's really cool. Good for them.
Yo, good for them being aware of that, because what a phenomenal run.
Ryan loves being Constantine.
Matt Ryan, come on to the show. We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk John from Size Run. I love it.
There we go. We'll just get Matt Ryan.
We'll just nerd out about it.
We'll get Cy, we'll get John, we'll get Cy, we'll get Matt, and we'll get you.
I won't be able to come to that.
And then Matt can just play Constantine. It'll just be a weird conversation.
Constantine.
I know.
I literally would not be able to show up to that. I'd be like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think that's worth it. I think that's
I'm sorry. I've become a stammering idiot more so than usual.
But yeah, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. And thanks to the chat for being respectful and cool. Of course, again, if you want to keep this conversation going, join our Discord. It's in the comments down below. You can just click on the invite link and go over there. No spam, please. And otherwise, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Before we go, Tiffany streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, typically on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays. Again, every link for everything we do is in the comments or is in the description box below this video. So if you want to join that, or you want to subscribe to that channel so you know when she goes live, go over there and do that. But she also streams on Twitch if you like Twitch, if you prefer your gaming streams on Twitch as well.
That's right.
Twitch.tv/ComicPop. And there's more. Thanks,
of course, everybody, for being patient with our single mic setup today. My office space is not set up for a dual person podcast.
It's true. It's true.
I really should get like a go bag, essentially, of things that we have. That's like, if we had to do this again, we could do it. Because I definitely I act differently in my own space. I realize that. Like, this episode was different.
Yeah.
Because I'm different. I'm with my stuff.
But in a good
I got my stuff.
That's why I had a whole designation for you at the studio. I was like,
I know.
And then you took it all down so we could have an office, so we could have a library.
A dope library.
Yeah. With I don't think
you regret that at all.
No, I'm thrilled with the library, but I wish you still had an office.
Yeah. All right. That's
what
fair.
I need to do is go into the storage room and just remove it and just throw it.
No, the storage room's great. We got to get
rid of a
storage room's great. Storage room is amazing.
But thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll see you guys
and
next
thanks for the love on the thumbnail. So I worked hard on that.
I did. Thank you. We're trying a new visual aesthetic across the board. The back issues show got a little update. Thank you. Becky, she's got a little update. I changed it radically, and then I realized I'd rather use that for podcasting, so I went with the old look. The other thing was, and it was really just a personal preference, I was like, I don't like the idea of my face being on every episode. I wanted everybody. Like, I wanted the team. Because my face is on all the other shows, so I was like, it doesn't really represent the show.
More of this.
But thanks a lot for seeing us, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.